Welcome to One Life Show. I'm joined by amazing people here. To my right, immediate right, do you like to introduce yourself, sir?
That's okay. My name is Michael Njagi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an entrepreneur, seeker of truth.
Okay.
I'm Daniel Nzai,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a faith economist.
Okay.
My name is Bans or DJ Bans. I do so much. Right now, I'm a spiritual seeker as well. So today we're going to be discussing about how to unveil your gifts and understanding your purpose. So I think the first thing we start by defining what, in our context, what is gifts and what our purpose is.
So tunaanza na gifts first, or are we doing everything? Or how?
Whichever way, we can start with gifts. Okay, in fact, we can ask ourselves which one comes first. Is there any need of viewing it as one comes before the other one, or are they dependent on one or independent of each other?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Feel free. Whoever wants to start first.
So I guess we can start with, because it looks like purpose comes before gifts.
To your world. It's okay, just
Yeah.
explain more.
So I would start with the one question we usually ask ourselves as human beings ever since we were born, which is, why am I here?
Okay.
Then that will now lead to what are my gifts and talents?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we can start with purpose.
That's okay. What do you think, sir?
I also think we start with your purpose
Mm-hmm.
will reveal the gifts that are needed for you. So if I know my purpose, then whatever gifts that I get, they are for me to fulfill my purpose.
And can the gifts lead you to understanding your purpose?
The gifts, yes, they can lead
And
me.
can the purpose lead you to understand your gifts?
It should be.
Yes.
So they are codependent to each other.
Yeah, like there's like a feedback loop.
They are directly proportional to each other.
Ah,
Okay, so let's. What do we mean when we say what's a gift in your world? In this case,
a gift.
yeah.
Okay. For me, nazasema, a gift to me is something that is actually given.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that you come across.
Mm-hmm.
This you actually have to be given this. So for me, when I talk about gifts, I'll talk about spiritual gifts, or in a way, which are revealed to you by the Spirit. So they are given, which is totally different than something that is a talent, which is something that I am specially, uniquely, I have a special uniqueness in something like carpentry, dancing, or something like this. But when I say gifting, it's something that is given.
Just to explain to you what do you mean by gift and talent, because now you've introduced talent.
Yeah, talent to me is something that is unique to me. It is
E.g., an example.
I'd say, for example, I'd use dance. A talent is something that is unique to me because I can train myself to be a dancer. I can stop dancing. I can train myself to be a singer. I can stop singing. I can do something else, which is, say, carpentry or something of the sort. And I'd say that is my talent. But when it comes to gifting, I kind of think it's something that is actually revealed to me, something that I did not have, nor can I train for it. Because how the way it comes about is, for example, if I am to talk about teaching, as much as we have teachers in school, some of them are not gifted. They are doing it as a profession.
As a practice as well.
As a practice. It's something that nimesoma 4 years, alafu sasa mimi ni mwalimu. So for the gifting, especially if you're going to talk about the biblical aspect of it, I'd say if I am to be a teacher, then it is something that has been dropped within me it is something that I did not even start. Even if someone was to ask me, how did you start this thing? I just say it was dropped within me, and I knew that I have to now start teaching people on certain aspects of life or of anything that is involved. So that's how I'd actually distinguish between the talent
and the gifts.
And a gift.
What do you think is gifts to you, sir?
Me, I agree with Dan. I think our definitions are similar. If I can use an example, when I was in my senior year in university, there's this unit we were doing for, it was called behavioral economics. It was kind of like how you place investments. Now, there was this one guy from my class. I can say he had a gift for mathematics. Me, I can say I had a talent. Like mine was something I had to work for. Like I really had to go study. I had to do like a lot of revision problems. This guy, like for one example, there's a time our teacher went and then he put a question on the board. I literally timed that dude. Within 24 seconds, he had the answer. The teacher hadn't even sat down. As we're still trying to work out which variable goes where. So that for me is like a genuine gift. It's innate. You don't, it just manifests. Like Dan said, it's given, it's natural. You don't even have to, I would say, work hard for it to come out. It just naturally flows. But sometimes I've also seen instances where talent manifests like as a gift again. Like you're kind of doing something and then another, a similar gift comes out. Like if I remember, there's that philosopher you've been reading of late, Kierkegaard. I remember something like when he explained why he started writing. It was because he was lazy, he was bored, and he didn't think he would do much with his life. But he had already started writing before. Then that talent kind of manifested. Like, I don't know whether the gift just came at that particular time that he became a recognized philosopher. So there's also like this weird twofold relationship between gifts and talents.
Okay.
Sometimes, like for him, I would say he started out writing as a talent. Then I guess it just manifested, like the way they usually say the spirit will come for you when it's time. And then now his writing just blossomed. Because before, okay, when I was looking at his musings the other day, the biggest conflict he had was that he was trying to make writing easy. But then once he realized that his purpose was to make it difficult, to make you think more, then now the gift just kind of manifested out of nowhere. Then like his writings became, I would say, really hard, but also the purpose of making us think more, the talent became a gift again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in purpose, what would you define as purpose?
Purpose is something that now, in terms of being a gift, I'd say purpose is what you were brought on earth to do. It is unique to everyone, as much as gifts can be unique to you, but we can see a duplicate of gifts in different people. But my purpose here on earth will be different than yours, could be different than yours. Or we might even have the same purpose, but we get to the destination differently. So to me, the purpose is something that is totally unique to each and every one of them. It is something that we do not find because it is already given. We just have to
reveal it.
Yeah. Okay, it's revealed to us day by day, but it's not something that we lost. Then now we go and start finding it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think purpose to you is?
Okay, I actually agree with Dan again. But I wanted to go in a different direction, which is why does man want to know what his purpose is? Like I always find that's a really interesting conversation between philosophers because we're the only animal that ever asks why are we here, what are we here for, and after I die, where do I go?
I think consciousness helps us it's put in us. It's an innate value of being primitive.
Because I kind of
to look for something that is beyond ourselves. It will always be there.
Yeah, because okay, maybe I want to try and see what happens when you don't know what your purpose is.
It's impossible. You'd have to reject your own consciousness.
Or the ones who kind of, because there are examples like for people who decided to just go with impulses. No idea, like no need to know what purpose is.
But what made them go with impulse? There was a trigger point. What was it? What would you say was it?
Yeah.
Okay, in my thought, I would say it's curiosity. So it can be replaced with understanding of what we say, the seek or the find of the purpose. Once I'm curious enough to know what is beyond my today, or the reason why I'm here, beyond my today, that's already a curious reason enough. And that's what I'm trying to say. I think we're naturally made with primitive automatic response to always find something that is beyond us. So that's what I would say in my world, probably. Why we're always seeking it. It's just a curiosity for man that is brought by consciousness. Your thoughts?
I think because if I am to look at it, why humans actually look at and try to seek out their purpose, I'm looking at it as how do I put it? Say, for example, if I let me go with what you've talked about. I do not want to know what my purpose is. Okay, so it means that I'll just want to live on kind of normally.
I like to. By the time I'm rejecting to understand my purpose, there's something I'm accepting too. What would it be? Because you just don't reject to ideas, to thoughts, without accepting to something.
I think there's you'd have to go back to the animal kingdom, because if they don't know their purpose, how do they go about their lives on earth? Okay, because if I am to look at a lion, pick a lion, say, what's the purpose of a lion? Now, I think even in the animal kingdom, they actually know they do not have to be an elephant. So, outrightly, they will be living their own purpose without trying to be something that they are not. So, if I am here and I am trying to, I'm actually not even trying to seek my purpose, then would that mean that I'm actually trying to live to something that I am not?
Because when I think about it is, I disagree with the guys who say that there is no purpose. Because I think even the way we act out life, there is purpose. For you to get out of bed, it means there is meaning to your life.
Yeah,
otherwise, you just stay in bed.
There's something you're seeking beyond sleeping.
Yeah, and so long as that's the genesis for I'm looking for something, then genuinely there has to be meaning. Like, you would get out of bed, you would make your bed, you'd go and eat, you'd probably go make friends, get a job, etc., etc. You're weaving like meaning and purpose in. You can be doing it unconsciously, but I genuinely don't think there's a way that you can live. Like even just the word live implies meaning somewhere.
Yeah.
So you can't live without meaning.
Because I think in Dan's case also, a lion has to look for food just to change. If the temperatures goes high, I have to know to move to places that have lower temperatures. So even them, they have their own form of curiosity in their own world of animal kingdom. Even though we all belong into the animal kingdom, the level of intelligence and consciousness is what separates us. And so I think I can go to the other question and ask, how do we find, now you said we don't find purpose, but allow me to use this word for expression. How do we find purpose, or how do we understand our gifts, or how do we unveil our gifts and understand our purpose? Is there a natural set path? Is it like what you said, by just being, I belong?
If I am to, let me put it this way, if I start by wanting to know what my gifts are, then I'll move into my purpose. I think I'd be doing it. I don't think I'd be doing it in an orderly way. If I am to look, if I am on my path of purpose, then the giftings will find me on the way to my purpose.
So in that way of structure, the first thing for us to find out is purpose.
Yes.
How?
Okay, so this is how we do it.
I know there's no formula, but just
Yeah.
help
There's
us to understand in your
formula.
structure of thought.
Okay, there are very many ways people usually like to or try to put in a way to get to understand the purpose, because many times people are really struggling to understand why I'm here. Is my purpose being a DJ? Is that actually my purpose? Or is it a talent? Or is it something that, is it a gift? Or is it something I'm actually good at doing that I think now this is actually what this is my purpose here on earth? Now, the truth about the purpose is I've heard this many times, that it's usually something that is constant. That's what I've heard, that it's something that will not move, but we are moving towards it. But I really want to kind of differ.
Expand that.
Okay. What I mean by that is what people normally say is it's like a target. It's like
a destination. I'm moving towards it.
Yeah, let's say, for example, I'm coming to Nairobi from Mombasa. So Nairobi is my purpose. I'm coming from Mombasa. So it may so to me, okay, I find it kind of hard to wrap my head around that, because it's like I'm targeting a bullseye, which in a way it's like it's not movable. It's immovable. You cannot move it. What about if God actually moves it? Because that happens.
It grows.
Yeah, my understanding
grows
of it becomes different, because now I had targeted Nairobi, but that is not my end. The end is somewhere further than Nairobi. But what we normally do is when I get to Nairobi,
you rest.
I rest, and that's it. But I haven't even done anything yet. I haven't even scratched the surface in a way, because I have just understood to some certain level. So when I am out seeking out my purpose, first of all, I'd look at something that I enjoy doing. That's the basis. At least let's be genuine. You go pray, you what? Just start somewhere that you like, that you love, that you enjoy, that you're passionate about. Now, the more you continuously live in that world, the more the more much is continued to be revealed. And you continue to understand deeper and deeper things. So now, I'd say, I got you started out. Let me give an example of Jay-Z. Jay-Z started as a rapper. Okay, let's forget his past. Yeah, let's forget his past. He started out as a rapper.
Okay.
He got to a point, started a recording label, started to do things, and things grew and grew and grew, and right now he's a mogul. So now, if I am to look at myself and say my purpose is just to be a rapper, then I might end up missing out much more that is destined for me. And I stop at my purpose was a rapper in life, and that's it. So it's me who hasn't deeply understood the levels that are associated with me understanding my purpose.
So what I'm getting from you, it also means that there are some people who find the destination of what that thing called purpose is, and they rest. They don't even start working. Like, my purpose is probably teaching, and I rest on that, but I even don't put the work to teach.
Yes.
The other thing I'm getting is purpose has a foundation that is grounded on, if I would use that, but it keeps on growing like a tree or like flowers.
Like roots.
Yeah. So what do you understand by purpose? Oh, sorry. How do you find purpose in your world?
Let me just start with what Dan has said,
Yeah.
because it's kind of gone in the direction I wanted to go. I want to use like a personal example, but just take the lesson without it being subjective so that you can apply to others. For me, how I first began this journey of purpose was trying to better myself. Asking the question, how can I better me? Which somehow led to the question for how can I better others? Which then led now to how to incorporate collaboration, the planet itself, the environment, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So I would say purpose usually starts with, there's this guru I follow, he usually says we want to feel pleasant. So when your body is pleasant, we call that health. When it's really pleasant, then it becomes...
pleasant or present?
Pleasant.
Pleasant.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay,
yes.
so,
Okay, excuse my... it's why I went to school. But anyway, you want to feel nice.
Okay.
Like that good feeling.
Yes.
So when your body is feeling good, you have health. When it's your mind, you're peaceful. When it's your spirit, you're joyful. When it's with others, we call that success. So and then there's this degrees that varies for that pleasantness. So I usually find like first it starts with, like the way Dan said, actually the origin of the word sin means to miss the mark.
Yes.
So I would say also finding purpose means to actually find the mark. Like what's the greatest good that I can aspire to?
And is there something beyond the mark in the path of purpose?
It keeps changing. Actually, this is the
So
thing
the
that I
target keeps
find
on-
interesting.
Once you hit the bullseye today, tomorrow is gonna go further and have to find the precision to hit it again.
Yeah, I find like this God is this amazing storyteller, because how he hooks me in definitely is, imagine like you're reading a story that you already know the outcome. Yani you can read it 10 times, you know everything there.
Yeah.
But if I give you a very difficult story, you won't even attempt to read anything. So the way God usually reels you in is that he'll give you something just enough to pique your interest, like purpose is leading here.
Burning
Then
bush.
yeah,
Like Moses.
but then it will also challenge you. It's kind of like the way fire has many, what's that saying for fire is it a bad servant? Is it a bad master, but then a good servant?
Yeah.
So I find like there's something within us that he pokes and prods, puts us in different situations, and then what we think of as purpose has to grow. It's kind of like, I don't know whether you've seen how they cure, there are these people called agoraphobics. They're scared of confined spaces. They feel like if I put you in a lift or something, you're going to die of a heart attack. The fear will just, so your fear of, it can be an enclosed space. They don't want to get into a train. An airplane is definitely out of the question. So how people are actually cured of this fear is first I have to convince you that there's an action you can do. So the way God usually prods us on is first by knowing there's actually something you can do.
Yeah.
Then he'll put you in situations whereby you'll realize like, I can do even further than what I thought. So how it usually works is, let's say that's the lift and this is me.
Yeah.
So it will first start by me getting closer and closer to the lift. Then the therapist will actually hold open the door. Then I get in. Then I dart out. Just first so that he tells me that I actually have the power to get in and get out.
Yeah.
Then when I get in, I have to explore all the surroundings, and then I'm safe. Then now I can even start exploring different floors.
Yeah.
So I usually find like that's how God reels me in. Like try this first. Go there, wreck you a bit, form you, then now let's go forward.
Because the reason why, as I was thinking of this topic, I found out that majority of people are always on this path and seek or search or finding the purpose. And it has become so fundamental to man that it has become the next question after, or like, why the reason am I alive or why am I here? After that is what's your purpose. And I think we always ask each other, what's your purpose? And people have this idea of it's something that is beyond me, as you had said before. But I'm finding that anything that leads us to understanding or finding our purpose, may it be religious study, education, friends or mentors, whatever kind of form you understand, that idea of predicating purpose is something that to figure out, to reach out for, to seek it out, is not as, I love how you've put it, it's always within us. It's always something that we have to, I'd say, reveal, understand, and work with, as you're also showing us. So why is it that the seek has become an attachment to man to find fulfillment in the search rather than in the find or in the reveal?
I think let me just reiterate.
The purpose has become the search.
Let me read.
So searching has become the purpose.
There's something Mugea said there. And I think it should be an add-on to what I had said before. We actually look, when you're seeking your purpose, I said you start by identifying what you love. But I think there's something to that. I think that I did not add, which he has brought out. And it is, if I understand myself first, then it will be very easy for me to walk on that path. Now, the reason as to why I'm saying that is, many times we look outward. We do not try to look inward. We do not try to think about why am I doing this? Why am I not doing this? What is prompting me to love this thing that I'm doing? So if I am not certain to what is pulling me to that side, then I'll be on the wrong path and I will not know it. And I'll keep on telling myself that I am on the right path. And you remember, whatever you tell yourself, many times, even if it is a lie, it eventually becomes true in your world. So many times people are actually walking in a lie, believing they're walking in the truth. They believe they are on their path to purpose, but they haven't even figured out what they actually know about themselves. They have not understood themselves. They're not understood why they're doing what they're doing, and which now enables them to effectively seek their purpose and their giftings and all these things that which come after. So to your question, Rudia Sasa.
What I'd ask is, has the search become the purpose? It's like the more we seek, the more unfulfilled we become.
Okay, now I think that's where I wanted to connect those 2 points. Many times, since we have not understood why we're actually on the path, we identify
with the search.
And we think now we are on our purpose. This is our purpose. But the truth of it all, we haven't identified which of the two we're actually on. For example, if let me use this. If I say I'm a DJ, okay, I think many times we tend to identify with whatever is current. And for example, I'll pick myself. I say I'm a DJ. Then I identify with that.
And Makir can be like whatever is current to your world. It does not necessarily mean that's what current to
yes. It's my world. I'm talking about my world. So if I identify with that and I start telling myself that this is my purpose. Now, I haven't even searched. I haven't even asked myself the questions that I need to ask myself. I haven't understood where I am coming from to arrive to this point. If anybody sits me down and asks me hard questions as to how I arrived to that, I have no answer. So I think we also get into that point, to get to that position. So I get to the point where I say, I'm a DJ. Then what do I do? Now, I have to start backing up my answer. So I start praying. I start telling God, this has to be my purpose.
Mhm.
So I start praying.
So the prayer turns to be a command.
Yeah, it tends to be to be a command, because I'm not having a conversation. I'm not waiting to hear what God has to say. So where the search now comes in is, as I am praying, what I am telling myself is, I am searching. So I will continue to pray, but the truth is that there's a certain answer I am waiting on, which is DJing. So the next, let me say, even 5 people who come and tell me, you're a good DJ, and I think you, that's your purpose. I'll pick it up and say, that is my purpose. But I have not even understood, first of all, how I arrived to that. I took prayer as a backup, in quotes, to back up my answer. And now there are some people now who are telling me that DJing is my purpose. And now I stick to that,
Maybe
to
those
identify.
Maybe those people are sent by God.
They can be sent by
They can
God.
be part of the answers of your prayer.
They can be.
And they can also make you get lost more.
You see, so there are all those variables. But the truth of it all is, if you truly understand where you stand, if you understand your point, if you have a very good foundation, then it is easy for you to know that you're on the right track. But if that is not the case, then also those people will come and tell you, you're not a good DJ, and that is your purpose. You're a good chef. And now you have never cooked in your life. You only cook noodles at home.
I think the foundation of that would be mixing. You stop mixing records and you start mixing spices and
so
vegetables.
it's easy for you to be.
So I think there's something you're saying that I think purpose is always, can I say, hooked on something or founded on something. There's a foundation that anchors majority of our purposes. Finding that, I think, is what, and it's not actually finding, it's just understanding it.
Yeah, it's understanding, actually.
So what would you think? Has the search become the main purpose?
I'm actually going to use a really weird example, which is...
As long as it's PG rated, it's okay.
There's this experiment for a rat, like a regular rat. So you take it from its its cage, where it calls home, and then you put it in a different cage. I don't know whether you guys have heard that story.
Just go on.
So this is the experiment. Take the rat from its house, then put it in a different cage. Then the premise of the experiment is that we are teaching the rat fear. Because what happens when you put him there, first he won't move. He'll start, funny enough, human beings are the only ones who, we have this thing for the visual. For the other animals, it's a sense of smell. So you put him in a new cage, the first thing he's going to do is start smelling. Then he'll realize, if I smell, there's no predator to eat me, so I'm safe. Then it's going to move a bit, explore all the corners, make sure everything is okay. Then now it will come back to the central position and realize living here means there is no predator, so I'm okay. So how they did the experiment is, there's this light that used to come on, and when it comes on, the rat gets a shock. So every time it used to think that it knows that it's safe, they just jolt it a bit so that it comes alive, and then it knows that it's difficult here. So the whole lesson that can be learned from that, when I extrapolate it now to me as an individual, is I'm the rat. And then when I go, the way Dan is saying, when I get to Nairobi, I become too comfortable. I sniff it out, I make sure nothing's gonna hurt me here. And then God has to like push the light, give me a jolt, and then I go. So I think we became comfortable with it because naturally as we are, we don't like the unknown. There's one thing I usually ask people, which is how scary it is to be a human being. Like, sometimes I sit out at night nikiangalia the sky, and I realize if you go and read a bit, beneath our feet, like there are these atoms and all that, there's a whole universe there full of bacteria and what have you. If you think above, we have like entire solar systems and all that. We don't really know what's out there. Then there's a whole just on earth here, how scary it is. So like, how are you supposed to respond to that as a man, given how vulnerable and fragile we are? Okay, not as a human being.
Yeah.
Let me just put it like that. So I usually think like the first instance of safety that we get is of great comfort to us. But you see, that whole thing is built on the way Dan is saying there's a lack of foundation
And
there.
which are some of these things that we put our safety on?
A lot of the roles we play is a good one.
Defining roles in this case.
For example, the way Dan said, I'm a DJ.
Yeah.
So that gives me safety and comfort. Or I can come and say, since I was trained as an economist, I'm an economist. I take safety and refuge in that.
Routine and pattern, traditions.
Actually, I saw that like there's some really brilliant philosophers that took this issue way above. Like they started saying we find safety in reason.
Yeah, that's one.
So how we structure our thoughts, like they give us safety. So one example is everything is arbitrary out there. There's no purpose, so I'm going to create my own. You end up becoming a dictator. The other one is there's no purpose at all. I become a criminal. There's no meaning to this life, so there's no reason to better myself. I should just take mine and what's mine now, and then meet death. That's a good life for them. So I usually see those instances as we've taken refuge in that which gives us security. So reason is a good one, as you said, traditions, thoughts. Which other one is there? Roles that we play. I'm a husband. I'm a father. Yeah, I'm a man. Like it just keeps going on and on and on. I'm a creator. Like we just kind of hold on to we attach and then we identify and then we're like, this is me, so this is good enough.
I feel like we're doing a lot of abstract. So allow me, let's come up with three purposes that we can probably define for the cases of expression, and 3 types of gifts we've encountered in our lives or with people around us. We're speaking of gifts, and purpose, but we haven't come down to trickle down. Or what? Like, let's do 3 kind of purposes we understand, and 3 kind of gifts we've encountered, as random as we can be, but structured.
I think I gave one.
Which was you said teaching.
I talked
as a gift.
I talked of
teaching as purpose.
As a gift,
because that's a good one. We can pick on that. So just to extrapolate what he said, you see, teaching can be applied into so many various fields or disciplines. I can be a teacher to farmers. I can be a teacher to musician. I can be a teacher to student in terms of education. I can be a teacher in like so many things. So teaching can be part of the purpose, but it's manifested differently through the gifting of different disciplines. Can I say that?
Yes,
through the manifestation of different disciplines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another one?
Healing.
Yeah, healing. Actually, if you go in the gifts of the Holy Spirit, it's there.
Yeah, and then I would even
teaching
further.
actually, it's there.
It's there.
Yeah.
Like, for example, for healing, there's a difference between healing someone and curing them.
Yeah, true.
The way I learned when my granddad was in hospital recently, and I realized what medicines do for you is that they cure you of the disease, but necessarily they may not heal you of what's actually that burning question for who am I. So I find like there are guys who their purpose is definitely to heal, but not one of the ways it manifests is you can be a healer who cures through medicine. But I see there are also healers who are
not in the medicine field.
Not in the medical world.
So healing can work as a gift and can also work as purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Another one?
Okay, talk about prophecy, which is a gift. Is it? Which Bible verse? It's in Corinthians, right?
Sorry?
It's in Corinthians.
Yeah, First Corinthians.
6. I think it's 6, if I'm not wrong. Where, prophecy, where now you see, this is something that you foretell.
Yeah.
So there's no way of you knowing. You okay, unless you this is revealed to you, then it's
Mhm.
possible now for you to be a prophet.
Yeah.
In terms of the purpose, yes,
Mhm.
it can be a purpose to be a prophet.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It can be a purpose to prophesy.
Mhm.
But I think you see now where that lies is,
Mhm.
if I had not taken that first step,
Yeah.
then these other things will never have.
Been
Come about.
revealed.
Yes.
Mm.
I also think another, say, I've seen various people,
Mhm.
I'd say even in the spiritual
World.
world, yeah,
Mm.
who are way younger
Yeah.
than the is it predecessors? Or,
Yes.
yeah, they're way younger than them,
Mhm.
and you cannot say these people
Mhm.
learned these things
Mhm.
in the years that they've lived on earth.
Mhm.
So these are some of the things that have been revealed to them,
Mhm.
e.g. prophecy.
Yeah.
You can get an 11-year-old
Mhm.
prophesying.
Yeah.
Now, if I start asking, where did this child know
Mhm.
how to prophesy?
Mhm.
There's no school of prophecy.
Mhm. Okay, they are, but they are. Yeah,
That's
There's an actual
well, they
real
are. There are
example
a
for
few, a
that.
couple of them.
Listen,
Not a school, but
listen.
Yeah.
School of prophecy.
Yes, there is.
Okay, so what am I learning?
I've never been, but I've encountered them within my field of research. They
Okay,
are
yeah.
there.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what am I learning?
I haven't checked the curriculum to understand what they learn.
At the end of it, do I get a certificate of prophecy, or what?
No,
how does
that's a
that
good
happen?
question. I don't know what
Because you
happens.
see, when
Mhm.
I talked
Okay, and
about
by the way,
gifting,
we are not saying that it's bad to have a school of prophecy. or
let
people
them
not
have
to
it.
Go.
Let them have it. Let people go. But
Uh-huh.
I have to be very clear.
Yes.
When I talked about giftings,
Yeah.
okay,
Mm.
I might be directed
Mhm.
to go and understand prophecy
Mhm.
through that,
Mhm.
okay? But that does not mean
Mhm.
if I take myself there
Mhm.
that will be my gift.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
I might go there to understand prophecy,
Yes.
but I will not live there
Mhm.
as a prophet. You have to be very clear.
It's very true. Actually, I have seen this guy. Is it Elisha was a farmer,
Yes.
and Elijah was running a school of prophecy, and in the field, or in that, I would say the students who were part of his school of prophecy now, quote unquote, none of them were able to foretell what Elisha got to know about Elijah.
Mhm.
And actually, majority of it's like Elijah left that gift to Elisha.
Yeah.
So yes, I agree with you. That's a good example in the Bible that people actually were prophets under Elijah, but they came somebody from outside who was able to be, I would say, to go ahead more than what they had already done.
And you also remember Saul
Mm.
was a king,
Yes, yes.
but in the midst of the prophets, he prophesied.
yes, yes.
So
yes.
you see, these are some of the things that are actually revealed to you or are given to you
Yes, yes.
at certain instances.
Mm.
But that does not mean if I go to school
Mhm.
to learn prophecy,
Mhm.
I live there as a prophet.
It's true.
First of all,
Mhm.
we will still go back to why I was going there, my
Mhm.
understanding of myself.
Curiosity.
Am I going there to be a show off?
Mhm.
Am I going there so that when I live there now I'll be the best prophet?
Mhm.
Which it is a very wrong motive of me going there in the first
Because
place.
I'm also getting there are people actually who go to seek out these gifts as a
Mhm.
point of being close to God. You get
Mhm.
like if I become to learn to be a prophet, then my relationship with God can be or could be better.
But it's not a
used
must.
as in their world of thought process. That's how they understand it. Like if I'm able to grasp within the gift of, and now let me use prophecy, then I may be or can come close to being godlike. You get.
But you understand there's if I already have the fruits,
Mhm.
if I show the fruits,
Mhm.
then a gift is an add-on.
Actually, I would say the fruits are the outer manifestation of something that is grounded from a gift, because you can be a patient prophet, a kind prophet, like they all resemble.
But it's not
your
a
body
must. I have a gift
of prophecy. Yes.
Yeah.
No,
The
no,
fruits
not
can-
even prophet.
Yeah.
Gift for
Of-
me for me to get a fruit.
Mhm.
If I it is not a must for me to have a gift
Mhm.
for me to be kind.
Yes,
Yeah.
because
That's what I am saying.
Yes.
Because if I already have the fruits
Mhm.
of the Holy Spirit,
Mhm.
then the gift
Mhm.
is an add-on to already whatever I have.
However, yes, I agree with you. For purposes of helping our minds to comprehend, I would love to compartmentalize the different disciplines you're bringing around, because now you have introduced a concept about fruits.
Yes, yes.
What do you think?
Okay, me, I'll just go back a bit further.
Mhm.
I think the way Dan said, there's a school of prophecy.
Yes.
I think, okay, apart from the Bible, usually I go to look for other examples.
Mhm.
So there is one of your favorite authors,
Mhm.
Jiddu Krishnamurti,
Yes.
which I find him is like the perfect example
Mhm.
of what Dan is saying.
Mhm.
They took a young boy
Mhm.
and then they were grooming him to become the Messiah of the world.
Mhm.
So they took him to the best school.
Mhm.
They brought in the best teachers.
Mhm.
Yani Dan, those guys had a library for the occult. That's the
Mhm.
biggest and brightest on earth.
Mhm.
They took him there. They taught him all those things.
Mhm.
Then they organized a press conference, which was supposed to be his coming out party.
Mhm.
That here I am, I'm the Messiah of the
In
world.
fact, it was the star and the light of the world.
He went there and told them nothing. Like, I'm not, I'm a teacher, but I'm a regular human being. I am not the savior of this planet.
Mhm.
Imagine after like being invested. Yani, if you hear the trials that guy went through, first there were a bunch of kids.
Mhm.
Then they took them to school. Then they brought down the finalists to 3. It's like a weird American Idol, except this time we're looking for Jesus. You're like the best. So, and then now we finally find contestant, the final one, the finished product. Like, we've groomed him, we've taught him how to speak, he's read with the best,
Mhm.
he's mingled with the who's who's.
Mhm.
And then now he comes out and he's like, I'm not the savior of this world.
Mhm.
That much investment, I'm sure those guys like literally collapsed. Because after he said that, he actually left the organization. So for him, I find like when I listen to his teachings, he's like the best. For me, like I relate to him so much because he just shows me that those are not things you can learn. Like, I'm not gonna go to become in a school of prophecy if I'm not meant to be one in the first place. Like him, he was literally meant to be Jesus, or I think they call him the world teacher.
He was a world teacher. The organization is called Theosophical Organization. It's actually here in Parklands. Nairobi was one of the places they had a center across the world. It's still running. And actually in India, they still have a museum for Theosophical.
Yeah. So for him, I find is like classic. There's no way you can teach someone to be a savior.
He actually rejected the tradition of elevating man through a specific pedestal. He came to destroy systems that a man had placed for another man to transcend. So that's what he came to destroy. So as that goes to what you were saying about even though there is a reference in going to a school of prophecy or school of healing, there can be a grounding of understanding the gifts or that kind of world, but that does not assure us of having the gifts specifically as either healing or prophecy. So I think are we done with the examples of purpose and
We have 3
gifts? We've given 3 already.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I would love to, before we go ahead, to ask the elephant in the room. Okay, we have one. We have literally one. Our producer there. Guys, anyway, I would like to ask this. What is your purpose? What did you say is a purpose? Is your purpose on earth?
before I answer that, let me just go back just a few
clicks
yeah,
backwards.
click to the giftings.
Okay.
Is it a must for me to have a gifting?
Yes.
You mean like, are there any requirements for you to have a
Conditions.
gift?
No.
No,
Is it a must?
Is it conditional for us to be gifted? I'd say yeah.
Why?
It helps us to understand and work our purpose out on earth.
What if I don't have?
It's impossible for one not to have,
Why?
because we've been given and gifted by God.
We've been.
Given and gifted the gifts.
So is it
by
me
God.
to know the gifts, or is it me to wait for God to give me the gift?
You've already been given. In fact, to be alive, it's already like a condition. You're already gifted.
So okay, I'm alive.
Yeah.
I'm gifted.
Yes.
So that's it.
Now, if the hard work or the find is, some of the, I would say it's like also the world of gifting has a hierarchy, because there's the gifts that help you to understand other gifts. It's like without this coming first, okay, now this is two different people. It's like some gifts will help you to get to other gifts. So on whether it's conditional, I would say we are actually conditionally gifted by God. And it's eternity. The world of gifting in itself is eternity. Yes.
So say right now, apart from the recorded giftings in the Bible, if I say I have none of those, would I be right?
Yeah, you would be, because even religion in itself, it's on an ongoing process of evolution. Man himself is evolving, so I'd say also the gifting is also evolving. I'd say 1,000, not even 1,000, 200 years back, we didn't have something in relation to data scientists or internet or computer engineers. Something that I think is 100 years, close to 100 years or even less old. So there's also evolution of man and the gifting itself. As long as man is evolving, I believe religion will evolve, gifting will evolve. So absolutely, it's more than the 9 or 10 or so gifts that have been recorded in the the New Testament. There's more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
because even the future of the giftings, it's quite wide right now as we speak.
I have this really heretical idea that the Bible should also be updated. Like, we should be adding our own stories, our own manifestations of destiny and gifts inside it.
How so? Just
Like,
to engage your field of thought.
So me, I usually see all those chapters in the Bible, those books are kind of like the stories of those who came before us. And I find like abruptly just ended with John, or like with a compilation of. So I usually find like, no, life is still continuing. So like maybe there's supposed to be more.
Let me engage you. What if we all have a resemblance of the specific people who are depicted in the Bible?
Yeah, and then, okay.
What if
we have a?
Like probably Dan is playing 10% of John the Baptist. I'm playing maybe 15. You're doing maybe 35% of him.
Oh,
so what if maybe another person is playing Prophet Joel as we speak, or Haggai, or Jeremiah?
Okay, the way I'm usually coming at it from is I find like there's these three, like I guess I would call them dimensions that we have to live as human beings. There's one for nature, there's one for society and culture, and then there's the individual.
Could we be that's how also we see physical structures, the 3D dimension?
That's one, but for me, I find that individual part is really key to, like, to experience life. There's that part of us that says, this is me, uniquely me. So sometimes I usually wonder, like, yeah, I get what you're saying, that we can be different manifestations of those who came before.
Yeah.
But even them, there were manifestations of, I don't even know how I can backtrack it, but I usually think, like, so for example, according the way I usually see with my friends, they might have I might have difficulty explaining to them how something is related to maybe just pick John the Baptist, the lone voice in the wilderness. But then, to use Dan's example, for me, a guy like Jay-Z was way ahead of the curve on some of the things he's talking about, like the hip-hop music, the being a mogul and all that. And I find like how would I say, there are similarities there. And someone may have a difficult time processing what John went through, but someone who's closer right now is also worth of an example.
And what if each and every one of us has undergone a process of shouting from the wilderness and nobody's hearing us in our own equivalent form of living?
Yeah,
What if?
but I feel that should be shared as well then.
But we do share, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
but now
we
in
are like the incarnation of
I think
different.
what he's trying to say is it's like an understanding in these times.
Okay.
Like
To set the context of
yeah, the
Bible
to this, yes,
these
I think
times.
that's what he's trying to give it.
Okay.
Because if we are going to use it still with the context of the Bible, then I think for us some things are taken way out of context,
yeah.
and people are really not easy to understand. I give a very common example. When people are reading about when Jesus said it is easy for a rich man to go, it is easy for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's a very simple portion to understand. I'll take a needle and take a camel, and you'll see that this is very different in comparison. But you see, if you're going to go to the context of that time, there was a place called the eye of a needle, and camels it was a very narrow place. So Jesus told them it is easy for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. It was that. So I think what Muge is saying, what will be the eye of a needle in this time?
Now that's what the use of the gift will come. For you to understand that, that's a gift of, let's say, revelation or interpretation. It's a gift. So what will help us to put that reference to relevance is a gift. Yeah.
So we'll need the gift to come to that
understanding.
Okay.
Because it's not easy by the understanding the Bible, as you both agreeing and I'm also agreeing. It's not easy to understand. First of all, if you go even to King James, it's even more difficult. It needs another gift of revelation or understanding and interpretation.
Okay.
You're saying something before?
I totally lost my train.
Okay, so I think I had asked about what's our purpose. What's your purpose?
My purpose is to be a solution provider. The reason as to why I say that is over the years, I think that's my understanding to this point in time.
Of today.
Yeah, of
tomorrow,
of now.
Tomorrow may be different.
Yeah, that's
Whatever time right now.
yeah, it has to be very specific. That's how I understand it to this point in time. And the reason is as to why I see it that way is every time I've tried to seek out the understanding of the purpose, it leads me to that. And I'm not saying that I always lean to trying to look for solutions, that I'm always trying to see if there are things that need my help.
Yeah.
That's not the point. It's there are some things in life where, for example, you're in a setting where you knew that today I'm just going to chill. Okay, I'm just going to relax. There's nothing that is going to that needs my help today.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, you see something that people are actually struggling to do, but you know how to do it. It's something that looks so easy, but people are actually struggling to do it. And once you step up and say, okay, say for example, this is how you are supposed to do this and this
Yeah.
and this,
Mhm.
and people are like, why are you sitting and doing nothing and see us struggle to bring or to get this working? And there sometimes actually sit back and tell myself, you know what, this is not what I'm supposed to do. I think this is someone else's problem to solve and not mine. But you see, what that does is I am undermining whatever has been put in me, because whatever step I take, every day I understand it differently.
Yeah.
How I solved a problem last time is different than how I will solve it today. So and over the years I've seen that happening, whether I have looked, whether I have not looked, whether I've turned my eyes again from.
Let me ask you something that is off what you said. How are you able to break yourself from old patterns?
Or from old patterns.
Yeah.
It's I'll take you back to what I said. First of all, if I identify with my solving
Process.
problems,
Okay.
then I will be always looking for problems
To solve.
to solve. Now, I do not want to live in such kind of a life.
That's a pattern one forms in the thought.
Yes, you now you want to be distant from that, because once I know that, say, like right now we're seated here, if I know that there's a problem with the mics, then I'll not engage in the conversation, but I will be trying to look for a problem to solve with the mics. So I'll be distant and disengaged from whatever we are having right now. So it is for me to actually sit back and know that there are certain times that they seriously need me. They, if, for example, if this building was to be set ablaze, definitely I know that's not my place. There are firefighters who will come in here and extinguish.
What if a gift would manifest in the process of the
If-
situation?
We're going to extinguish that.
If it gets to that point, then now I will understand that, there was this other thing that I did not know that now I know. But the first point will not be for me to do what the firemen will do. I try my best, but they know how to do it better than I am. So what I'm trying to say is, if I know that I am to solve problems, then every time I'm trying to look for problems to solve, then I'm not practicing I'm not walking in my purpose, because now that is me trying to look for something
So you
to
wait.
identify with.
So you wait for opportunity for your purpose to manifest. Or
Actually,
work.
I think the opportunities find you because you're in your purpose.
And what about when you find the opportunity?
There's finding, which
you can find while you're still on the path of purpose, yeah?
which now you see, what I'm trying to break is trying to identify.
Like purpose is destination.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I'm really trying to break, because I might lose out on something else new that was supposed to manifest.
While living on the
The
destination
Yes.
of purpose.
Because if I continuously find, I'm just trying to find something to solve, then maybe that day I was supposed to understand something else and I missed that opportunity.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
So what's your purpose, sir?
Me, I would put mine as... Okay, first I want to say, just for purposes of context,
Okay.
like, no one has to follow mine, so that you don't be guys trying to be like me,
Okay.
because that's really important. Like, everyone has theirs.
Maybe you have a gift of influence.
I hope so, but not like that.
They should not manifest as a condition.
Yeah, that
Okay.
gift can be really useful right now, but not like that.
Okay.
So I would say, for me, my purpose is if I can put it in a sentence, as it stands right now, is to improve welfare for myself, for others. And as Dan is saying, this thing keeps changing because first when it started, it was all about me. As Dan is saying, I've identified something that I love and I'm like, it's going to take care of me.
Yes.
Then through experiences, I can say that God humbled me enough to know that one of the greatest lessons in life is that it's not about you. Then there's that realization for there are others.
Yeah.
So there's collaboration.
Yes.
And in as much as we're talking about our own individual purpose, I do believe that if I can say collectively, there's somewhere we are headed. So there's a way mine intermingles with yours, intermingles with yours, and Hari's, Kilosh, TJ. Like everyone is, our purpose have led us here.
Yes, yes.
So, but if you look at it in a kind of big picture form, there's a way as men, or I would say as human beings, we are going somewhere. Like this is just part of it. So I would say, after I realized that like purpose intersects with others, which now came to forget even like other human beings, then it became the world itself, like the environment. I started asking myself, like the dogs I have, what on earth are like purpose ya idogina mimi like yeah, and then now it kind of grew to there. To now, that's why I say it's not just about my own welfare. Now it has become for me, for others, for these spheres, for nature, for society, for culture, for the world. And then it kind of evolved because at first it was like, okay, we are doing economics. Then it came to, okay, now we have a job. Then I'm like, okay, now we've lost a job, so now now we are, like, as you said, we became entrepreneurs in Kisii. Then after that, it was like, okay, dude, now we're in a church. Like, just think of how random. For me, sometimes I sit down and I'm like, okay, there's a way you usually remind me of stories for what we've done. And then it hits me. By the way, no one can actually sit down and say, for sure, concretely. Okay, you can with foundation, but you can't get stuck there because I usually find like you will be thrown in a sphere so different. That's what I was saying. One thing I've discovered about myself is there's a part of me that I didn't know that responds to the unknown.
Okay.
And this thing, I don't even want to call it a thing, but whatever it is, because I've not found a name for it yet, throw me in a different place and I'll fare better than I thought I would. There are fears that I'll have. So for example, we are farming now. Me, the first day I went to buy a djembe, so I was so scared
of the venture.
Because like, what am I doing buying a djembe? Then the person who's selling me the djembe, I realized like their heart is intermingling with mine so much. Nimepelekwa hadi nyuma ya store kuoneshwa inventory. I'm like, that's not normal. Then I'm being shown like orders majembe, which one would work better where I want to do it. Like, so for me, those were like key indicators, like this is where God is taking me to. Go to a place like Ijabe Street, they're selling me seeds, and all of a sudden I'm being offered advice even though I'm not paying for it. So for me, those are now like the things that I say, if I had just stuck to, okay, guys, we're entrepreneurs, we're going to sell stuff, or we are ministers, so we're just going to like, we're focusing on the word. Okay. As Dan is saying, I would never have come to that point of realizing. For me, I think it's like, because even me, one of my gifts, I find like it manifests differently in those situations. Okay. Like the part of me being a teacher has literally undergone different transformations in different industries. Like, so for the entrepreneuring, the farming, the church, I find like I'm becoming stretched and grown to accommodate something that, to fare better than I thought I would. Number one. So I failed, but not the way I was. In my mind, I was like, I'm going to be incapacitated with failure. But then it has turned out that I can actually survive there. Then I can thrive there. Then now I'm like, okay, so now I've let go of the idea that I am just one thing.
So you'd say, the next question I want to ask, what you said one of your gifts is teaching. Yes. So what is another gift you'd say that you have?
This one... Sorry.
Why are you laughing?
It's because like sometimes I find it is so difficult to explain to someone. Okay. you can have a dream,
Yeah.
and then I come and explain it to you.
Yes.
And I don't know, like, okay, they call it like the interpretation of
Dream
dreams.
interpreters.
But let me tell you, that thing makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah. When
In the
doing it,
moment
when
I'm
doing it,
I
or
know
after
what
doing
I'm
it.
saying.
Okay.
But sometimes, like, for example, someone will come and tell me a dream they had.
Yeah.
I interpret, or like I give my opinion, which ends up being like a take on the dream, like an interpretation.
Yeah.
Then I go back and sit down and I'm like, where did that come from? Like, I didn't sit down and I was like, okay, so this is probably a reference to this. This is like this means it's going to go like this. I didn't sit down, and there's no school I've ever, yani, that is the weirdest thing I've ever done.
So you have a gift in dream interpretation.
Yeah, because I didn't sit down and actually start thinking, I'm going to start.
Producer TJ, how long are we into?
Oh.
And? Okay.
So there's no time I've ever sat down and been like, I'm going to start interpreting dreams. In fact, I'm going to open a school out there.
For dream interpretation.
Yeah.
So what are your gifts?
I'd say my exhortation.
Wow. Ebu expand. Expound.
Ni kitu rahisi.
Okay,
It's
what is
something
it?
encouragement too.
Okay.
Yeah. You see,
Another one?
and teaching.
Okay. So before we wind up, I know we'll never finish the conversations that we're having. They always keep on growing, becoming, having tangents. So we love having tangents. So we may not ever expound or finish the topics, but I'm going to do 2 random questions for each of you, depending on the field that...
We're also going to do 2 questions randomly.
It's okay. I'm open for any questions. So I'm going to do some 2 random questions for each of you in the fields that you love, or that you... I would say that is your interest. And just be prepared and be open. Like, be open-minded. So I don't know who wants to go first. Why? In fact, I'll go with you. It's okay. So I'm gonna.
Fingers.
It's very convenient, by the way, to point fingers. So I'm gonna go with you, because you have an interest and a love in social media. So I'm gonna ask you. Currently, how can the church improve their numbers on social media?
How can the church
improve the numbers on social media?
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much
for that question. Yeah.
I think for a long time, the church did not consider
being on COVID-19.
Yes. And for them, it was really hard to see because of the numbers in the pews.
Yes.
So now, for them to improve on the numbers right now, I think they have to change tact on who their target market is. Number one, the target market on social media, I think, is totally different than those people who come and sit in the pews. If I am to look at Facebook, right now I haven't checked on the latest statistics of the demographics on social media of Facebook,
they are
Instagram.
Saying the church is the biggest content producer currently in the world on Facebook. Currently.
Yeah.
The church has more content than any other discipline, maybe sciences, whatnot. Yeah.
It might be the biggest
on Facebook contributor of content.
It might be the biggest contributor, but we also have to look at the demographics. Who are you targeting on Facebook? Who are you targeting on Instagram? Who are you targeting on Twitter? Who are you targeting on YouTube? Now, all these have different screen times. For Facebook, it's totally different demographic than Instagram. So if I am to curate my content, whatever goes on Facebook is not the one that should go on Instagram. I should actually curate something totally different than for Instagram. Because like right now, if I am to look at how things are going, it's projected by, I think, 2025, Facebook numbers will start dwindling. Many people will not join Facebook. The reason is millennials are the biggest number on Facebook, followed by baby boomers. So the generation, which one is this now? There are so
Z
many.
or Y?
It's Z. I don't. Okay, the one after
Is
millennials,
we now have generation C.
it's C.
COVID.
Oh,
The
kids
bado,
now-
bado, they are not on Facebook.
Yeah, but
They are so
it's-
far. Okay, we'll
in 5 when they're 5 years they're already
okay.
getting
Leave
into-
that group alone.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the
It's Z.
I think it's Z.
Z
eh?
and
Yeah.
Y.
If I'm to talk about generation Z,
Mm.
many of them are on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok.
Mm.
Now, is the church invested in Snapchat?
Mhm.
Is the church invested in TikTok?
Mm.
Will you create content
Mhm.
that will pass through the generation
Mhm.
on TikTok?
Mhm.
Because those numbers, the people on TikTok
Mhm.
are calling anybody on Facebook
Mhm.
a boomer.
Mm.
They are boomers now.
Mm.
So you see, these are two different demographics
Mm.
which are so wide apart,
Mm.
but we have a middle ground for millennials.
Yeah.
Now, millennials trickle down to Twitter,
Mhm.
Instagram, Facebook a bit,
Mm.
but when you're talking about boomers,
Mm.
for Facebook,
Mm.
if the church concentrates solely on Facebook, then this is 2020, in 5 years,
Mhm.
they'll miss out.
So that leads me to my next question. So how can the church use organizational behavior to improve its content? Generally speaking, or specific, may it be from its church staff or from the attendants?
For them to
How can it use organizational behavior?
to
Whichever field you love.
To-
You
to
want to
increase-
it be to the attendants, the audiences that come to the church, or to their social media platforms, or their staff,
I think
to improve their content. How
I
can
think
they use-
churches should be the structure, or say this, is it the superiors? Let me just use superiors.
Mm.
Should be liberal. They should start accepting.
You've used a very dangerous term, okay?
Yeah, they should they should start.
Liberal and church, water and oil.
Okay, no,
Okay, maybe we say, I think what Dan means that they should be compatible.
Open-minded?
Yeah, like flow.
Okay.
no, it's because more and more people
Mhm.
are going. Okay, first of all, for the staff,
Mhm.
it depends on who's on your staff.
Mhm.
How old are they?
Mhm.
Which platforms are they using more?
Mhm.
So I should be allowed to use my platforms
Mhm.
in whatever way that
Mhm.
is needed
Mhm.
to effectively bring on
Mhm.
more numbers
Mhm.
to the church
Mhm.
on social media. But I think more and more churches are rigid.
Mhm.
They
Well, do you say they're rigid? What makes them to be so?
well, sijui, do I start with the 1990s when the internet was being brought
No,
in? It was
I know, just your short, precise
Okay.
understanding.
number one. Facebook was demonic when it was being launched. The church literally fought Facebook and called it demonic. That the congregants would be, what's the word is used for possessed? Yeah, you'll be possessed through Facebook.
What about the churches that embraced them? Because there are other who
No,
embraced
there are
them.
very many churches
Mm.
who did not.
Mhm.
We'll even go further.
Mhm.
Instruments in churches
Mhm.
were demonic. There were no instruments in churches because they were used in nightclubs.
Mm.
So when they shifted,
Mhm.
you see, that is now being liberal. You shift.
Okay, now
You-
if you put it, context sounds better. What you mean by liberal?
Yeah.
Because linguistically or open-minded speaking, liberal is not very well accommodated to modern church currently.
But there are others who have really
We have
picked
to
up.
put, Yeah, we have to put liberal as a context. with
Okay,
that
okay. So
specification
now I've
to
put
what you refer.
context. So now,
Mm.
for them, they actually have to try and open up as
Mm.
much as possible.
Okay.
Don't just say social media is for this generation because you want to reach to that generation because churches will actually continue. But if you shun that generation, then that generation will never come to church. They also say that generation. So we'll have, because that was a huge argument between the Generation Z and the baby boomers, because baby boomers right now are the ones leading churches, and the Generation Z are the people saying, these people do not understand us. And it's true. It's true. Like right now, you and your hairstyle, there are very many pastors who will not talk to you, which is very bad. Now, how many others, because you are in between, you can talk to them and you cannot talk to them, but they cannot cross over to these ones because they will not be listened to, they will not get the opportunity, because mostly what I've heard is they don't know what they're doing.
Okay, great. Okay, over to you, sir. Switching gears very fast. How do you
just want to add a comment for that thing for the church reminds me of this book I'm reading right now. It's this philosopher who's critiquing, okay, he's not critiquing it because he's Christian, but he's just explaining the gaps in it. I find it very, or
the
even
gaps of?
the church.
Oh, okay.
Just the one Dan has highlighted so well, which is how is it that an institution that was founded on the truth and then has like facilitated the growth of like our walk through the truth, then devices that are built as a result of that truth become demonic. It's kind of like felling yourself with your own sword.
Yeah.
So the truth gave rise to the scientific movement, which gave rise to technologies like Facebook.
Yeah.
So how is it that our search for the truth has become the very rope that we are hanging ourselves with?
It's the end of the finding meaning to our thoughts. If we label it, it's easier for our minds to comprehend what it doesn't know.
Oh.
Yeah. So how does this goes to you? So how does the church? Why you? How does the church use artificial intelligence to improve its like being or state, and where? If I would add on that.
First off, I would start by defining what artificial intelligence is. It's that it's machines that are capable of thinking at the same level as a human being. So neuron for neuron, they've just mapped out how our brain works, and the machine thinks exactly like that. First thing I would say is there are those who would say that it is heretical.
Yeah.
But I would say it's an extension of that command God gave us, not just to take care of his creation, but to also co-create with him. So, and AI is not like what is in the movies right now. It's not like some computer that's capable of thinking on the same level as a human being. Right now, what we use it for is the OS of our systems, that thing which gives you recommendations on your search bar as a result of your history. AI is used in medicine. It can also be used to analyze and catalog inventories in business, accounting, etc. So one thing I would say where the church can embrace AI is actually, funny enough, you've stumbled on a very new thing. What we use as artificial intelligence right now was discovered in the 80s.
Yeah.
So all these things for algorithms and this that like track your purchases and what, we are implementing them now.
Yes.
So I find like it's not really demonic, but one area the church can use it really well is in the age of implementation and data. So for example, there are questions that we don't dare ask in church, which is, I'm getting divorced. Is that okay? And then like things like there are so many. There's one I had the other day. I thought it was a really interesting question, which is, I'm having murderous impulses. Does that mean I'm evil? So I find like we can integrate AI to kind of answer questions that are really specific, which are kind of taboo right now. So if there was a forum whereby we could speak vulnerably about what's really ailing us.
Anonymously.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
okay, we're not ready to come in. I'm not going to sit at the pew of the church and tell them and then just confess my sins in public. There's a reason that confession box in a nako kapatition na it's closed. Even though I'm pretty sure the priest knows your voice.
Yeah.
But like for those of us who it has not reached the level whereby we can even go to church, if there was a...
So we replace the priest with a bot.
Not really, more of...
or a robot that has, we can integrate artificial intelligence to a robot that is playing the role of a priest, and it actually will be more refined even to give me specification of the predictability of my understanding or thought process.
Yeah, and I also think there's, even beyond that, there's no need to separate the priest and the AI. I find like they can work in conjunction.
You sure?
Yeah, I do. Because, okay, one thing that I've realized is that AI as it currently is, if you implement it right now, most of us goes jobless.
However, we can also use it to map out the congregants who come to the church. Then I'll give you whatever is tailor-made to your
taste.
Yeah, your taste or preference.
Or I would say currently where you are in life.
Yes.
It shouldn't be that you're coming to church to hear the gospel of prosperity, but you're struggling economically.
Yes.
Yeah.
It should be something suited, like if you're struggling with forgiving someone, I have something for you.
Yes.
Kind of like how Jesus had answers for everyone. But now just using like...
Okay.
If you can integrate.
The other one is a bit way off. So I wanted to ask, this is a big possibility. So can the church apply eugenics to improve the quality of Christians or to better the outcomes of the Christians?
Okay. First, again, I have to start by explaining eugenics just means that we kind of tweak our genetics, like our DNA. So, for example, if you want a baby who has like blue eyes or something, there is something you can do and then they get blue eyes. Or if you want them with curly hair as opposed to coming here to like, you do something like that. So is there a way the church can use eugenics?
To improve the quality of the Christians. Well, first of all, is it even permitted? I'm trying to bow down what Dan, I'm the liberal that Dan, I'm telling.
Will it be possible?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we
I
are
can
doing
improve.
it right now.
I can improve the quality of your understanding of what the gospel is by tweaking your genes.
But that's understanding, but working it out.
It will
Okay,
still
the way
improve
I would
your-
go about it
It will
is-
still improve your
It's like tweaking my understanding of reading a book. I just understand the book, but
it's
not
gonna change everything. It's in your genes. Even the kids who you're gonna bear are gonna come out with a change that have already tweaked in your genes currently.
so then I'll have robots.
Not really. You have a better improved child or kid to understand your version of Christianity.
What about then? That's determinism. I'm determining the outcome that I need them to have because do they have the choice?
Are you against
Okay, wait.
determinism?
No.
Wait,
Do they have the choice?
Guys,
Will they
no.
have the choice? If I tweak
Let
it,
me tell you.
will they have the
Wait,
choice?
first of all,
I'll ask you a good question. He's our judge here. I'll answer you with a good question. I was telling him this is what religion is the other day. Religion is trying to answer two questions. Did you choose to be born? And number two, do you choose when to die? So two things. So religion is trying to connect you with why you found yourself here without having the option or choice of being born,
Okay.
and how you're gonna die without having the option or choice of choosing death. So that's what. So for me to answer your question, before the kid decides, you have not even decided to be here in the first place. So when I'm asking, are you against determinism? That's what I'm also want to find out.
No, I'm not against determinism because now those are two outcomes.
Yeah.
I did not determine mine, but now it's like I am determining for my child.
But there's eventualities that are not unforeseen eventualities.
Like,
As far as I've tweaked your genes, it's not 100% condition.
But
That's gonna
what-
be the outcome.
but already there's a degree of me determining the outcome.
Which could
there's-
also be predicated on bettering your generation.
Which still is determinism.
if you would like
Yeah,
to,
wait, wait,
if you'd like
Yeah,
to
it
lock
still
it, no,
is.
I'd love to. If
you know me, I'm like, just for the sake of the viewer, just define what determinism is first. Before,
Okay.
like, there are these complex words. Determinism is when things are kind of you know what's going to happen in the future, and you know what's going to happen in the past. So you have a complete understanding of the entire frame.
Yes.
If I could just summarize it that way, I'm sure like the philosophers are gonna butcher me.
Mhm.
The other one, what Kagima is saying is true in that it's not really deterministic, because we've not, eugenics as it is, they've not currently worked out whether, let's say for example, if I want to improve your intelligence, whether if I cut something out of your DNA and I put it there, whether it's gonna work. Because, okay, one example is, you know this thing called sickle cell anemia, which is like when your blood is kind of shaped like a sickle, ila nini. So that thing, you would say that we need to eliminate it. But the reason it came out way back when is there was a deadly malaria going on, and mosquitoes do not attack someone with sickle cell anemia. So it's really useful back then. Like, it would actually save your life. Similarly, which other one is there?
There's so many cancerous cells.
Yeah, there's one I'm forgetting. It's like a thing for cystic fibrosis. It's this thing for, I think it's your bones or something. And right now, currently, they're trying to use that method to get rid of it. But what we don't know is that that gene for that condition is tied also to your intelligence. So I cut at it, I might make you stupid. Like, it's kind of a give and all kind of trade. So it's not an exact science. So even as we're saying that, as Kaiman is saying that we kind of trick you so that you understand this, the very reverse might happen. You might end up becoming like an atheist, choma the Bible, and then move on.
I think we're going to start our next podcast on that place of determinism, altering our genetics to fit the improvement of understanding of our lives. But the last question as we head, and this, please make it precise as possible. Are we living in a simulation, guys? Is life a simulation?
Elon Musk said.
Even I was about to go Elon Musk.
Okay, just talk.
No, you go first, and then I guess that would depend on what you define as simulation. But if we take it as like one of those computer ones, I would say, yeah, similarly, because my version of reality doesn't match with, I don't know whether you guys have observed houseflies. I usually wonder, like, they have like so many eyes, so they're able to interpret. Their vision is very different from a human being.
Yes.
So it kind of hits me. Even a cat. The other day I was at I went to see a vet. I think it was a month ago. I was playing with one of the cats in his office. You know, I didn't know that cats can't follow my hand movement up and down. They can only go this way. So if I do this, he responds. If I do this, there's nothing that he... So it tells me, like, even how the cat sees the world is totally different than...
So we're in different simulations of realities as individuals.
This is where God gets complex. It's a different... there's a way he's made it so that it's the same, but it's different. Like, it's kind of like... I usually take that line for... man was made in the image of God. To the thing that means there's a part of me that's a reflection of God. So God is looking at himself. It's kind of like we're all mirror reflections of the same being, interacting and like enjoying the environment, traveling in his creation, discovering ourselves. So I would say, yeah, that's like a really weird simulation.
What do you think?
I'll say, in a way,
brief comments.
in a way, yes. In a way, no. The reason that's why I say yes, I also wanted to go with that example. If you're looking at yourself in a mirror, okay, whatever movements I make, they reflect, they the mirror reflects my movements. So if I go left, it goes left. Go right, go right. And if we are made in the image, okay, if we are made in the image, then it means then whatever I do has to reflect back in goodness. Now, the that would be the first part of being assimilation, because there's something I was brought here to do, so I have to accomplish it. It's like a video game. And whatever movements I make, I'll still get to the goal, whatever they are. So that also brings me to know.
What is on the other front of the simulation?
Pardon?
If this is one side of your simulation,
I've said
the
there's
no?
yes and no, so that's why I'm
in the
coming.
yes, there can be another simulation. Like in both, if you say yes, there are two sides of the simulation and the reality. If I say no, there's a simulation in it and the reality.
Yes, there's a simulation.
So if I was brought to this world to do, probably to be a DJ and be a farmer, and that's my simulation currently, there's an alternative reality. You get?
Okay. I think where you're going now is like what is it called? The multiverse theory.
Yeah, for me to be belonging to one dimension of simulation, it means in it there's a second one. So if I say, yes, this is my simulation currently, it means there's another one. In fact, the concept of simulation means you've done piloting. There's another world apart from. So if I say yes, there's yes to this world and another. If I say no, there is no to this world and.
Now, where I was going to with that is, if I say no to this, now this will be a new yes.
It has no. The no has two sides. The yes has two sides.
Because if I say I'm not going to hold this microphone up here, I'm going to hold it down here. Is this a simulation?
Yeah, it's another diversion.
That's what I mean. When I say that
we can't hear you, sir.
There might be,
It's his choice in the simulation.
Okay, there might be the yes and the no, in that if I hold this mic down, then it means there's a simulation. I'm continuing in the simulation as much as I am refusing the simulation. It is a continuance. It has not stopped. I told myself, if I put this mic down, then that's the end of that simulation, that point. But what if it's a continuation?
You see,
it doesn't stop. It's just continuance.
Just because you instruct your thought in one direction of understanding does not disqualify the other dimension you don't want to indulge.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's why I'm saying, to my world, it is a continuance. It is, I won't stop. I will continue, regardless of whatever choice I make. If I am in that simulation, whatever I move, whatever thing or choice that I make, it is still a simulation. That was my
so in
yes.
both words, you just belong to one constant simulation.
Yes, that was my.
Okay, we've come to an end to this thing. I think we'll never finish if we continue speaking. So thank you so much for joining us.